We will get underway, and the first thing I want to do is introduce someone who's a very special person for the track, who's not even an official volunteer, but helps me in more ways than I can ever tell you. It would take way too long. I want to introduce Kevin Batchelder. He's going to be your moderator tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
This is the fans con. We want you folks to be a part of it. So I only have some very simple questions to get things started, and then we want to let you be able to ask yours. So feel free to plan to go ahead and move up to those mics. But first, I like to keep it simple. Let's bring out our guests. First, we have, please welcome Aimee Garcia. And also, please welcome D.B. Woodside.
Hey!
Here we go. Yes, they're both new to DragonCon, folks, so do that. Because there are so many of them here, but I'd love to hear you folks talk a little bit about the fact that the show was canceled, but the fans made sure it didn't stay that way. So, from your side of things, maybe talk a little bit what that was like when you saw that happening. Ladies first.
Aw, such a gentleman. Well, you know, Tom, we were at a con last month, and he said that our show, you guys are stockholders in our show, and the reason we came back is because of you, and to have a show be canceled and then revived by the people who watch it is literally the best way to go back to work, because it's not like someone in some fancy suit in some fancy building said, we think the show should continue. It was people from all over the world, all different ages, genders, nationalities, saying, we want more of the show. So thank you. We literally would not be here without you guys, and I know I say this all the time, but you are our little angels. So thank you for bringing us back.
Yeah, I say this all the time, but we're here because of you guys. It's that dry, it's that simple. When I found out, I was pissed off. And you know, I won't say anything about, you know, I think sometimes there are quite a few of us that may have been kind of cursing Fox, but as a result of what they did, we found a better home for the show. So, in a sense, we do have to always remember to be grateful that Fox picked us up in the first place, got us on here, and that you guys saved us. We are so appreciative of that because we get to keep bringing interesting stories to you guys and stories that we believe in for you. So, thank you.
As we mentioned, there are going to be mic runners in each of the two outside rows. There we are, our helpful volunteers. So folks, if you have questions, go ahead and get in line there, and you can ask a question right here at the panel. Start off right over here on the right.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, everyone at DragonCon likes costumes and dressing up and everything. Was there ever a costume that you wanted to take home with you, and did you? Or any show? Any show?
Yeah. Gosh, there's been so many good ones. I mean, I really liked, it was just a classic Joker costume, but a girl wore it, and and I thought she crushed it. And she just went all out, and I really liked that one. What about you?
I don't know. One that I've seen a lot that I love, but one that I want to take home. I don't know about that.
Which ones do you love?
I love a lot of the stuff from Suicide Squad. I think those outfits are off the chain. A lot of thought goes into them. That's been fun for me. Like watching people dress up from Suicide Squad.
Now, Aimee, you had that episode with the showgirl.
Yes.
And very elaborate. I mean, what was it like trying to deal with that?
Well, that was one of my funnest episodes because Tom and I were like kids in a candy store. You know, we're big goofballs who love to dance. And I have to credit Tom because he works nonstop. He's in every scene, and I know he's exhausted. But when I'm like, Tom, will you do the routine from La La Land with me? In between takes, he's like, yeah, sure. So he's such a champ, you know. But that was so fun because it was an authentic, I think, 1960s showgirl outfit. And you definitely had never seen Ella outside of witty, sarcastic t-shirts. So it was really fun, and the actual dancers were professional dancers. And I don't know if you guys know, we shot every scene in the casino starting at midnight, because we only had the casino for 8 hours from midnight to 8 in the morning. So we actually started work at like 11:58 p.m. And I don't drink coffee, and I had so much energy, and Tom's like, what do? I guess I just have to drink coffee. So the entire crew was caffeinating at midnight, which was really fun, but it was just a blast.
And how great was Aimee in that episode?
My hype man.
Yes.
I was wondering if in the move from Fox to Netflix, if there was a lot that changed from the production side or the administration side that affected you guys.
I would probably say the support that we felt and continue to feel from Netflix is unbelievable. They believe so much in this show and us, and it feels good to be someplace where you feel the love. I think as far as stories, I think we both, they kept telling us a lot, well, now that we're on Netflix, it's really not going to change that much. It's really not going to change that much. And I think they started to relax a little bit and realize, wow, we're on Netflix, we can change a little, And not in some huge way where we change what the story was that you guys love, but we were able to do some things, maybe be a little bit risque, maybe dive a little bit or lean more into the comedy, and also get a little bit darker and grittier, just be more Lucifer-ness,
And more naked. I really thought it was safe being the nerd on the show. I'm like, I'm good. I'll just wear glasses, be in the lab, and, wear gloves. And they're like, you're going to be naked. And then the first episode of this season, I'm not going to say, but, I'm like, guys, I'm supposed to be the scientist, so I will be doing squats. And DB is like, Atlanta has the best food in the world, You have to have this, and he has a list. And I'm like, DB, these jeans, these Ella jeans are so tight. It's the tightest forensic scientist jeans you can ever imagine.
Yeah, we only live once, man. The food down here is off the chain. You cannot come to Atlanta and not eat.
Yeah.
So y'all gotta go out and eat, all right? You have to eat.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the gym next week.
Yeah. So
We're here, you gotta eat.
Yeah. So if Ella looks a little, less cut in that first episode, you'll know why.
We got you. We're okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this side.
This question's for Aimee. I found Ella to be a very compelling character because she's not truly in the know. Her relationship with God is truly based on faith. I was just wondering if you could kind of talk about how you approached that, and especially when you found out about that she would kind of have a crisis of faith.
That's one of the things that I love most about Ella, is that she's not judgmental, and in a way she's almost godlike in her unconditional love and her acceptance of all, and her wanting to bring love and joy and light into this world, despite coming from poverty and a family of criminals. I love that that doesn't define her. She sees the best in people, even though her family and her brothers, even her grandma shows her how to steal cars. So I really like that, because I think that's a very universal thing. I think it's a human thing to have faith and then lose that faith, whether it's losing a loved one or, you know, not getting what you want, or being confused as to why things are a certain way, or having to do with tragedy. Everyone has faith or doesn't have faith and struggles with it. So I love that that was such an intricate part of Ella's DNA. And what I love about our writers, who are so talented, is that they take these characters on these journeys, and then she loses her backbone of her identity. And as we saw her spiral into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I personally had a great time kissing Inbar, who I think is one of the most beautiful women in the world. And I had a great time, you know, having a fun nudist colony scene with Tom, and defusing a bomb on cocaine and Molly. So much fun, which I think she would never be able to do if she didn't have her crisis of faith. But one of my favorite scenes in the show is when Ella says, you know, I used to think that God existed to take away the bad, because how can God exist when there's so much tragedy and hatred in the world? But what I've realized now is that God isn't there to take that away. God is there to help us cope with that. And I hope that that resonates with everybody, and I think it's just such a beautiful thing.
Hey, how you doing? So a comment for DB and a question for Aimee. So, you know, DB, well, both of you, big fan. DB, you know, watched you way back from like Romeo Must Die, 24, you know, plus Lucifer. You know, and I'm just, you know, realizing how dangerous it is to be a family member of yours.
Just a little, you know.
And then Aimee, so I'm from Illinois as well, a couple hours south, you know, Champaign, Fond du Lac. Just a quick question, what's your favorite pizza joint in Chicago?
Pizza?
Yes.
Oh,
Speaking more about food,
I know. You know, it doesn't even exist anymore. It was this little place, God, what was it called? I don't even know what it had. I would go, my mom works in Pilsen, which is like a predominantly Mexican neighborhood, and I know everyone loves Giordano's and Dewey's and stuff, but it was actually a pizza joint in the back of a Mexican supermarket without a name. That's how underground it was, and I don't even know if it's still there, but it's a place in Little Village, like 15 miles west of Chicago, and I think that to this day, it could take New York down.
Okay, it's like, oh, wait, hold up. I was gonna let this shit slide. I really was. There is no comparison when it comes to pizza between New York and Chicago. You kick your ass when it comes to, I'm sorry.
DB takes his food very seriously. Look at this, you're so proud of that.
You all got me hot now.
Angel
All right, I'm gonna shift gears.
Man, I'm getting a little nervous now sitting this close.
Hi, so in the first season of Lucifer, Amenadiel kind of starts out like very one note and nagging Lucifer, and then he just ends up having such a rich, amazing character arc like throughout the seasons. So when you first read the pilot and when you first started in the first season, were you expecting it to be more than like kind of like a humorous foil for Lucifer, or were you just like, okay, like I'm gonna go in with, you know, like what was your expectations for the character as you started out?
Well, first of all, when you say nagging, I don't know, do you have any little brothers or sisters? No. Well, hey, listen, we're in the final season now, so I think I can say this.
WikiLeaks.
Part 2. The first season, there was supposed to be this huge storyline with Amenadiel and Maze. Fox got nervous about the storyline because we were a new show. So they changed the storyline. So I think if you look at the first season, there's like a stretch where Amenadiel just drops out. That was where that storyline was supposed to be. That made Fox nervous. So I agree with you. I do think that he had a tendency in the first season to kind of be one note. But I don't think that was the writer's fault. Sure as fuck wasn't my fault. I show up, I say what you give me to say, and then we just roll the dice. Fox came in and they were nervous about some stuff, and so that entire storyline got pulled. But it was pretty powerful, and it was between Amenadiel and Maze. So I agree with you.
Getting the art with you, like losing your flight and then getting the wings back was incredibly moving to me. So you're all looking out for the end.
Thank you. I think so too. I agree with that. You know what's hilarious right now is that I don't know, you guys probably can't see this, but on these cards it says, "Please remember, you may be on DC TV right now."
Smiley face.
Then fix the DC universe. I say that with love. We're in the family. I mean, DC is, I'm sorry, like I grew up with DC and Marvel, and DC is so rich and it's so incredible, and I just think if you're a fan of DC, like, you just want to keep hoping that it's going to get better, right?
Oh my gosh, I can just see Twitter now.
All right.
Yeah, no filter.
Yeah. Working? Yeah, there, now they're working. I mean, I'm going to change my question now because I feel like I have to ask. Are you able to talk about what that storyline was going to be?
I think I can.
Look at me.
Well, we're never going to come back to it. Yes, okay, so what it was supposed to be is...
For the record, I have nothing to do with this. Just state my case. Innocent bystander.
First of all, Aimee and I get blamed a lot for leaking stuff. We get blamed a lot. Because we leak a lot. But,
literally in the green room, you guys, he's like, you know, we're laughing, talking, catching up. He's like, I think I said too much at like the last panel. I'm like, yeah, I think me too. So anyway, go on.
but this is first season, and we're never going to come back to it. What it was supposed to be was Amenadiel and Maze hook up, which I believe they did, right? Amenadiel falls in love with Maze, which I believe is also still there. But Maze was supposed to die. That's right, you know this. And so what Amenadiel does is he brings her back to life. But because he brings her back to life, he's punished and stripped of his wings and his powers. That would have been awesome to fucking see, right? So they kind of picked it back up with him losing his powers, I think, in the second season. But that was supposed to be the reason why, that he loved Maze so much that he was willing to risk everything to bring her back. And so then, of course, she somehow, in her angry way, feels like she owes him, which Maze doesn't like to owe anyone. But I think it would have set up a really interesting dynamic. So that's what the story was. That's what the part was supposed to be.
You are so good in trouble.
Yes.
I have a two-part question. First, I don't want to seem ungrateful, but I'm wondering why with Netflix there are so few episodes in the season. And second, what's the likelihood of more seasons after this upcoming one?
This is going to be the last season. This will be the last season.
Okay, but to be fair, we were only supposed to have 10. And because you guys binged it, by the way, over and over and over again. You guys rock. Again, because of you guys, not only did we get a season 5, but you guys are directly responsible for getting us 6 more episodes and bringing the total from 10 to 16.
Yes.
Hi guys. So I'm a screenwriter. So I was wondering if you guys could, with the 16 episodes that you have, if you could write your own episode for this last season, what would you kind of make everybody else do?
Make everybody else do. Oh, let's start from the top. Okay. I would make Lucifer apologize to someone. I would make Chloe have some kind of wild night out, just for her. Amenadiel, him to find a job. It's like the guy doesn't work. I mean, what's he do, right?
It's an angel.
Yeah. I think May's to fall in love, which I think we saw. For Dr. Linda to maybe go to heaven.
Aww, she deserves that.
No.
Kill off Rachel? Swear now. D.B. says, I do episode.
Yes, God, let she die. Joking, Rachel, joking, no. And I would like to see something else go on between Detective Dan and Ella. I'd like to see something. I'd like to see that go soon.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's okay. Well, and what about for Lucifer? Oh, Lucifer apologies, right? Gosh. Well, first of all, I'll start with you. I think that this guy next to me, Smile, lights up the world and is super contagious, and I think you're hysterical. So I would love to see you sing and dance. I would love to see Amanda's goofy side. And then Lucifer, I don't know. I think I'd like to see maybe his maybe like darker side. Like I do like when he just, I don't know, like scares us a little bit, because we always will love him. And yeah, definitely Chloe. I would love to have her have a wild night out, because Lauren is probably one of the funniest, if not the funniest, of us all on the cast. She's a major prankster. Yeah, May's to find love. I think that would be really nice. And then Dr. Linda to just be in charge of not have to be nice. Just tear into everybody. And Kevin, I would love to see a lot of scenes with Kevin and Trixie. I think Dan and Trixie, I love their relationship, so I'd love to see more of that. And then for my character, what about for your character? You didn't say.
Find a job.
Find a job. Yeah, with my character, I think I'd just like to see, I'd love to meet Abuelita, because we know that she's taught Ella to steal cars. And also I'd love to learn, what's that? Oh, yeah. And I'd love to find out what was the moment that made Ella put on her cross for the first time and have faith in God.
Charlie!
Oh, Charlie!
Oh, yeah. He's a new dad, right? So it's going to take some time. I'd like to see what Charlie's powers are going to be. I'd also like to see, because I love
love about her too, and I think Kevin mentioned this, she's so professional, she knows her lines, she's just a consummate, never messes up, she takes direction really well, but then like Kevin said, you know, she just is a kid. So she's still biking and she's still like being a kid, and even though she can handle herself and basically probably, you know, serve us under the table, like she's just so good, she also still has her childlike energy and curiosity and wanting to dance. So I think it's that beautiful mix of a consummate professional being able to hold her own with adults, but also just not forget that she's 11.
Yeah. And I also want to say, as someone who is a dad, we talk so much about Scarlett and how professional she is, how special she is, how nice. Well, that comes from somewhere, right?
Right.
So her parents are amazing, and I just want to say her parents obviously have done an amazing job and deserve that acknowledgement and recognition, because you see it in their child.
Yeah.
You know. So there you go.
So in my household, we really believed and hoped that Ella was God and just really messing with Lucifer, because Lucifer didn't faze her at all. So we were absolutely convinced that Ella was God and she was just watching everything. But are there any theories or you had or that you've heard that you liked or wish had ended up on the show? And my second question is, what is Tom like?
Listen, I say this all the time, and I would love to like joke on the guy, but he is so nice that I can't even think of jokes to actually say. He is a wonderful human being, and I can say this now because we're about to finish. He's the favorite #1 that I've ever worked with. You know, he's just one of those guys who first of all, no one works harder than him, and his attitude on set all the time is just inspiring. No matter what we're going through, he still finds time, still makes time to ask us about ourselves, our lives, how we're feeling, and what we're going through. And that does not happen, but it happens with him. He is a sweet, sweet, wonderful human being. He really is.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I said this before, but we have a lot of dead bodies on our set. And a lot of times they don't have lines, and they just sit in awkward positions for hours while we film the scene. And Tom instinctually stands between them and the sun to shade them, asks someone to get them an umbrella, and tells them, look, you can change positions. And no, he doesn't know anyone's watching. Like, I'm watching everyone like a hawk, okay? Even though I'm like, la la la, I know what's up. But I really, like, it's like how he treats that person who has no lines, you know, is out in the beating sun and offering them water and asking them if they need to, I mean, that to me is a true class act, and that's who he is when no one's looking and the cameras aren't rolling. So I really respect that because he does work such long hours and you would never know. And then as far as Ella, it was actually that. So I probably will get in trouble now, but for the longest time, so getting in trouble.
Go ahead.
There was a
You're among family. No one's going to tell.
No one's going to know. It's just as we say in Spanish, entre nos, between us. I really thought there was a thought in the writers' room that Ella was going to be Elaine Belloc, she's from the comics, and she ends up being God. So I thought her name was Ella, and this is what was originally planned. I'm going down with you.
Yeah. It's their fault. They never should have put us together.
Yeah. So originally her name was Ella, I think, because she was going to maybe be Elaine Belloc, who in the comics was almost like Lucifer's little sister and ends up being God. So I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense, and I thought that's the direction we were going to go in, and I would have loved to just have her be an angel, because I feel like a part of Ella is very angelic and angel-like, but I don't think that's really hope that's not happening. Anyway, I'm going trying to shut down myself right now, but that's what I really wish for her, is that she becomes a real life angel and sprouts some wings. Yeah. Aimee and D.B. no longer.
Don't ever put those two together again.
Hello.
Hi.
So 2 quick questions for you. The first is, can we expect to see any more of Ezra this season?
I don't know. She's your sister.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I guess you just have to watch. Job safe. I don't know. I think it might have just been a one-time thing.
I don't think so, but
you know.
Second question, do you guys have any one or maybe a few albums that are stuck on repeat recently?
Oh, music-wise?
Yeah.
ooh, good question.
Ooh, God.
No, I might say no albums, but I'm really into. Look, I'm getting old, so please forgive me. The artist known as Her. Yeah, I love her voice. I love what she does. I mean, so that's what I would say.
Yeah, for me, I think it's more just on Spotify. Like lately, I've been talking about, I'm big going 70s, and it's like David Bowie, Mamas and Papas, Ohio Players. Like, I'm from Chicago, and I don't know. I like Patsy Cline. Like, I've just been listening to just like old school stuff, and just got vinyls, and so yeah, I've been going back. Thank you.
Hi, my husband is a high school drama teacher, and he's not here today, so I'm going to ask this question. What advice do you have for young aspiring actors?
Don't. Just. No. Oh God, I'm going to hell. Wow, it's a profession that's changed a lot. I would tell young actors to try and stay in school as long as possible, to try and get as much training as possible, and to kind of get out and whether it's LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and just start doing just as much as possible. Just try to jump in there and learn. Just keep learning, and try and learn from the best.
Yeah, and I think my advice would be to write. I wish someone would have told me that. Earlier on, I have dedicated my entire hiatus to writing. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys follow us on it, but I'm writing a 4-issue arc for the Glow comics with my writing partner. And I was telling DB, I said the powerful thing about that experience was I got to choose with AJ which characters we were going to tell the story of. And we thought, what, the B-line should be this beautiful lesbian couple between, this Mexican girl and this Muslim girl. So I thought, wow, that's so cool to have the power of the pen, and I want to keep doing that more and more. I'd love to write stories where someone like an Ella is almost like a female Peter Parker. I'm very inspired by Buffy. I'd love to write something in that vein with that kind of tone. So writing, I think that's the best thing you can do. You can put yourself in it. You can write to your strengths. I think it's a game changer. Any actor that's really become a producer and actor has started writing. They write their own stuff, and they write the change they want to see. Fleabag and It's Always Sunny, like all those people, Kristen Wiig, they all write. So that would be my biggest form of advice. I think it makes you a better actor. And if you're an actor, you probably write really good dialogue, so I think they help each other out. So the biggest thing I would say is write, put it on YouTube. You have phones now, you don't have to spend $250,000 renting a camera. And so I think the world is your oyster.
Hi,
sure I've watched the entire series of Netflix like 10 times through. Yes. So you mentioned that Lauren's a bit of a prankster, and I was wondering if you could tell us a story of like a prank that happened on set or something behind the scenes.
I'm gonna let you take this away.
So one of my favorites is her camel toe underwear. Somehow she got her hands on camel toe underwear that she wears over her pants, and she decided to come down to rehearse with a complete straight face, and everyone was like, what's happening? And she just continued on, and everyone was like cracking up and snickering, and she did not take it off. Like, if she didn't have to until she had to get into her Decker, Chloe Decker outfit, and even then, like, wore it with her full-on, badge and whatnot. Like, no one wanted to say anything because they didn't know what was going on. And then she got called up to the principal's office, essentially.
True.
It's true. Yeah, Joe and Nildy, who are our showrunners, called her up because they heard about this camel toe underwear that Lauren decided to wear, and they said, it's come to our attention that you were wearing camel toe underwear. Is this true? And she's like, yes, it's true. And they were like, please never do that again. And they were like the worst parents ever. So that happened, and it's one of my favorites. So hopefully, I'm sure it's the last season, so she'll unleash.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, she's reckless. Like, she's a tear, but you would never know it. But she is so fun and hysterical.
Hi, I love the show so much, and this question's for you, DB. A little bit more about your character arc. In the beginning, what was so striking was how powerful you were, and not that that goes away, but I thought it was really interesting when you do lose your wings and decide to stay on Earth, and it's a conscious decision. All of a sudden that brings in a little bit of a crisis for you, and everything seems new and hard for this person who was so powerful in the beginning. What was that like for you as an actor to kind of do both sides of that?
Oh my God, I love that. I mean, that's my. I think every actor has like a wheelhouse. What they just feel comfortable in. Like, there are some actors who are very, very charismatic and light and funny and witty and.
Thank you so much.
All those things that Aimee are.
He was talking about Tom.
But they get a little nervous when it comes to doing some of the darker stuff, some of the grittier stuff, some of the uglier stuff. That's my wheelhouse. So that's where I get nervous doing the funny stuff. But the stuff that's edgy and uncomfortable, sad, or whatever it is, that's the stuff where I feel most comfortable. So that arc was fantastic to me. And there's something, I said this last time, that I'm sure you guys have noticed that all of the Celestial characters are so arrogant, from Mom to Lucifer to Amenadiel to all of our siblings, that they just have this arrogant way about them. And I think what's been exciting is when Amenadiel gets that stuff stripped away from him. It's exciting, so that's the stuff that really turns me on.
And one of my favorite scenes was when DB, that scene when he looks in the mirror and he sees his wings. I mean, there was no words. It was just a look from him. And your heart breaks to that point of just being almighty, and then his wings are just so crumbled. It's heartbreaking. Always a look. It's true.
Yeah.
Hello, so enjoy the show, enjoy your characters. And throughout the show, several characters have that aha moment that, oh, the supernatural actually exists, like Linda, Charlotte, and Chloe. So my question is, and you two can answer this, if Ella suddenly became in the know and says, oh, this stuff is not just something I believe in, it's really real, how do you think the dynamic between your two characters would change on the show?
We'd probably be inseparable.
Yeah, they'd be BFFs.
Yeah. I think she might be a little nervous about Lucifer. I think that might change the friendship. What do you think?
I mean, I think that Ella is so unconditionally loving that the first thing she would do is hug him, obviously. And I think that Ella is such a believer in God. How can you, there's no God, there's no good without evil. So Ella, I think, would approach it from such a clinical, scientific way of having that Kaiser Sose moment of being like, oh my God, what does this mean? And I think she would just drown him in questions and be like, we have to go out for a beer and I have a lot to ask. And I don't think she would judge him. I think she'd be like, dude, so you're not a shitty actor. That makes me feel so much better. Yeah, I think that Ella, I actually don't think that she would be tripped out. I think in a way, if the devil's real, then that means so is God. I think she'd be actually comforted. Oh, so deep, God, you guys are so deep.
So kind of touching on that, how does Ella see, like, Marcus Kane died at the end of season 3. How does she not find his body and figure like everything out immediately? That's right. So.
Yeah. Loophole. No. Just kidding. Well, maybe you brought him up. I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't know how she didn't find his body. What happens to a celestial body when? I love that I'm asking you writer questions when they die for good after so long. Do you mean? I don't know. But what I will say, that's an excellent question, man. And I'll text her. I don't know.
Yeah. Joe, Illy.
But what I will say is, if people ask me if I want Ella to find out that the celestial exists and that Lucifer is really the devil, and I have to say, don't want to take away the fun part of her being like, right, the devil, like, your dad is God, and I just feel like I love that banter, and I don't want to take that away from her, because there's only 2 human characters left, Dan and Ella. Everyone else has a celestial baby, is like, was touched by an angel at birth, knows that, hell and heaven exist. And so I just love that Ella, and even Dan has a dark side and is like kind of suspicious of Lucifer in the first seasons, but I feel like Ella is just our barometer for clueless, and I think that that's so fun, and one of the lines I've been pitching to our, is like, oh, could you just say something like, it's not that Lucifer is smart, it's just that he's really, 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 really old. And I love Lucifer to be like, well, yeah, he looks great for his age, though. And, so I feel like that kind of banter gets taken away if she gets the memo. So I kind of want to keep her in the dark.
There's also something really nice about having a character that is a faith. That she doesn't actually need to see something or have it introduced to her, that she actually just has deep faith.
They agree.
Someone started drinking a little bit early. Oh, all right.
Hi, so one of my favorite things about Lucifer is the wonderful diversity of the cast. There's sexual characters, half the cast people of color, and it's so matter of fact. It's never meant to be like an overt, thing. It just is. That's just the universe. But I did really love the episode that D.B, that I know it's a big one for you when your protege gets killed, and how it touches on current events, and then with Ella and Dan being people of color also on the police force, which isn't really pointed out either in an obvious way. And just that scene where Dan is like, "How dare you?" and then Ella kind of comes in, and that whole moment I really found compelling, and again, especially with kind of what's going on in the real world right now. I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts, how did that, that must have been really, you said that was your wheelhouse, but, and just with you guys as the cast, is that things that you think about being a police show, and yeah, just comments in general.
Okay, here we go. I have a lot of feelings about this. First of all, I think it about being this cast is so diverse, and I think we all love that. But what's wonderful about it is that it's also something that's not commented on a lot, and because it's the world. We all actually live in that world, so it's not something that I think is foreign to most people that live in any kind of a city or close to a city, or even in some, I have relatives that are from down south, right? So, but it's just people living together, and that's just what it is, right? It's not the 60s or 70s anymore. So I just find that people are living together and they work together, and even in really great tight communities, you can joke about each other's differences without people feeling like they're being attacked. You know, it gets to be a little fun. I had a friend, unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but I'm black, he was Jewish, and we would crack on each other all the time. And if you were black or Jewish people that didn't know us very well and you happened to be out with us, you could feel pretty uncomfortable really quick until you realize, oh, they're best friends. That's what they do. We never felt, we weren't offending each other, or like it's because we loved each other. I would take a bullet for that guy, he would take a bullet for me, you know. So that's one. So I actually love the fact that they don't comment on it, that it's not something that you're talking about every scene, every episode. So there's that. Now, this is a interesting time to be an American. So I think there are things that are happening that I think some of us may didn't know that those things were happening. Well, if you are black or brown, those things were happening before cell phones were invented. They were just things that we've lived with for so long that, unfortunately, and in a sad way, they just became a part of us growing up. These weren't things that we necessarily talked about. These were things that it was almost seen as a rite of passage, you know, like that's just the way it is, you know. And now I think, especially with this new generation that's coming up, you guys are incredible. Like, you guys just do not stand for it. White, black, Asian, Latino, it's just an all-inclusive generation that my generation and generations that are older can learn from. It's inspiring and it's incredible. That episode in particular was something that I had wanted to do for quite some time. I think the writers were nervous to go in that area. I'm not an idiot, I understand why. I understand that we're all out in the real world and we want to come home, we just want to turn the TV on and just be entertained. I can't lie, I'm the same way. You know, when I go to a movie or I'm watching TV, I don't want to have something thrown in my face every single time. I just want to laugh or cry or just watch something. However, this is a challenging time, and TV is a powerful medium. And I think we all have a responsibility to educate people, and we have a responsibility to say to people, hey, look, I know you just got home from work and you just want to relax, but your friends that are black, your friends that are brown, your friends that are gay, they're having a hard time. And you have a responsibility to your friends. It's not necessarily us on TV, but to your next door neighbors, to the people that you work with, to the people that you love, to the people that are in your family, right? There are so many white people that have a brother or sister or uncle or nephew, or your sister is dating someone, and you don't see any of that because you're just people. But it's a difficult time, so we have to kind of lean into that, so we can all kind of change things, so we can hopefully get back to a place in our politics where it's boring.
as the only Latina scientist on TV, which is very troublesome, but I love that she represents not only a strong, powerful, smart woman, but a woman in STEM, which I think is so cool. And for me, I take that very seriously to the point where I would like to start writing and creating kind of an Ella-inspired character and almost have her be like the female Peter Parker. Like, she's not perfect, she's clumsy, doesn't know when to stop talking, socially awkward, but is entrusted with saving the world. And it's like, oh crap, I really gotta pee, or like I can't see anything. I would love for her to have glasses. So Ella Lopez, for me, has really inspired me to continue writing for women in STEM and women of color and women who, don't look like Jessica Rabbit. So it's done a lot for me, and I just love, our writers, like you said, we cover the gamut, and I think media is really powerful. Yeah.
We have time for one more question.
Oh, let's take it. She's right there.
As someone who does a lot of theater and works a lot with sets and all that kind of stuff, what is your favorite set to work on the show, or just on the show?
Wow, Lux is beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful set. I'm not sure if that's my favorite, simply because every time that we're in Lux, either it's loud, crazy, or for some strange reason, Tom and I seem to get beat up there. I don't know why, thrown through pianos, over bars, but Lux is beautiful. My favorite set, though, to add on would be the penthouse. It's beautiful, and if people are into construction, for some reason the sound in that particular on that set is amazing. I'm not an architect. I don't know what that is, but the sound on that set is amazing, and it just has a feeling. And it's also where I think in not the pilot, but maybe the first episode that we shot, it's the first place that Tom and I really got a chance to kind of go crazy. So that the penthouse has a I have a soft spot for the penthouse.
Aww. Yeah, same actually. I mean, most of the time I'm in my lab, which I do love. His penthouse is so cool because of the books. I love the old books, and maybe I'll do an Instagram story of what actual books, a close up of what that'll be my shout out for you guys in this room. I'll be like, guys, I'm a woman of my word. So I'll do a little story on the books there. But I really like the books in that library, and I thought, libraries are just becoming so archaic, and it saddens me. So I love that it reminds us to read when we're on that set.
Give a round of applause.